This new keyboard I'm going to show you today checks just about every single box we could possibly want within a gaming keyboard. And that is the Razer BlackWidow V4 Pro. This keyboard has big, bold, solid, easy to access media controls, solid double shot ABS keycaps, a detachable USB-C cable and USB pass-through, 8 macro keys, 5 being on top, and 3 hidden macro keys on the left side of the keyboard, and also this awesome multi-function dial here, which you can press down to do multiple functions, and you can program it to do what you want just by a click of the button. Available in the Razer green clicky switches or the yellow mechanical speed switches, which we have on our version here, and a very, very plush, cozy wrist rest that simply slides under, magnetizes the board, and also has RGB around it. Underneath the board, you have your 2 levels of pop-out feet and your stock ergonomic incline. And on top of all of that, the build of this keyboard is so incredibly solid. You got that metal top plate, underneath it is plastic, but within it you also have 2 layers of dampening foam. Down here within the case and then within the PCB as well. I mean, this thing is solid top to bottom. It has some girth to it. It does not feel cheap whatsoever. And you can see that when we slap it right down here on the scale, we are coming at 2 pounds, 8.6 ounces. Now I know what some of you are thinking, yo, you're coming at us a little bit strong here, Techne. It sounded a little sponsored, a little fluffy, you know what I mean? But you all know, I stated I will never deliver that kind of review for you. I'm not company driven, I'm not dollar driven, I'm not hype driven. Consumer to consumer here. And no joke, guys, this keyboard is doing so much right, from the features to the functions to the build. Everything is solid. I absolutely love it. It's simplistic and it's done right. Now, I know what some of you are asking. You're kind of wondering what it sounds like, and I'm going to give you that sound test here. Again, remember, you got that 2 levels of dampening foam within this board, along with the double shot ABS keycaps, and we are using the yellow Razer switches here. Now, as you just heard, it sounds pretty darn good, but let's be straight up here, the stabs could use a little work, and Razer is stating that they're pre-lubed. When I pop the keycap off, I don't really spot much lube right there. I honestly think they could use just a pinch of work. They're not horrible, they're not deal breaking, but again, maybe a little on each of them and we'll be golden there. Now, when we dive further into this board, guys, I gotta go on and on just talking about everything, like these little 3 switches over here. I love them. The multi-function dial here, which you can dive into Synapse and really customize that to what you want. You can set it up to, I believe it's like 10 or something different controls right there, and then setting your macros on the top and then on the side. It's just, the options are limitless what you can set on this keyboard. Now, there is one thing you will have to get used to with this board here, talking about those macros on the side. Whenever you take your keyboard and move it, pretty much every time you're gonna accidentally set those right there. Like mine is Windows Zoom, and then one pulls up the Xbox bar. I forget what the other one does. There's so many stinking macros, I can't remember what they are, you know? But every time I got to move this keyboard here, I always press those buttons on the side. Now let's go and talk about the elephant in the room here. This keyboard is big. It is a full-size keyboard. It's actually bigger than a full-size keyboard because you have those macros and that dial on the side right there. Now, we all know the 60% keyboard craze has kind of faded away a little bit. I feel like that sweet spot is the TKL, and that's what I've used, the Deathstalker V2 or 3 Pro, whatever. I can't keep up with the V's, Razer. I can't keep up with the V's here. But believe it or not, my playstyle, I always take my keyboard, bring it to the side, got my mouse over here, and I'm actually You know, I feel like with the mice these days, a lot of us play with our sensitivity. Mine's usually around 800 on my DPI. We're not reviewing a mouse here, but again, just talking about my play style, I never found myself bumping into the keyboard. What I did find myself is having to give this a slight nudge over compared to a TKL, and it was like that, but I was perfectly fine. I love the features and functions that I got to take advantage of over a TKL, being able to use this right here. And again, it worked out really good for me. Now, two other things on this keyboard that are kind of hidden, but they also go into play as my time using it. Again, the wrist rest, well, it's not hidden because it's quite big, you know what I mean? But whenever I put my hand on it here, I felt like it was raised up a little bit. I never use wrist rest, so this could just be a personal thing right here, but I thought it was raised up and my thumb would always hit the lower keys when I was going for the space bar. So I had to take the wrist rest away, and again, I was perfect right there. You all see my space bars upside down. I always do that on all my keyboards. It's just absolutely stinking cozy, and that's what we strive on here, right? Stinking cozy. The other thing that you might have missed on this keyboard is the 8K polling rate that it's packing. Again, that's kind of a personal thing right there. Number one, how are your system specs, your monitor, your GPU, your processor, all of this stuff goes into play with that higher polling rate. We see 4K on mice, 8K on mice, 8K on the keyboards. Is that something you really notice in game? I don't know. I think it's messed with my head so much when I use something that's not. I'm kind of like, I gotta go back to it, you know what I mean? But again, it's not something, you're not gonna see it here or there, you know what I mean? It's something more or less in the background. It's kind of like if you got the tech, why not use it? And that goes right along talking about this keyboard, just having everything that they can offer thrown it at you. And some of you might be like, well, no, they're not throwing everything they have at us. They're not giving us those optical switches right there. They're giving us the classic yellows and the greens. And let me tell you what, these yellows are some of my all-time favorite switches because you all know I am a Cherry MX Silver fan when I'm not using my Razer red opticals with the new dampening foam. Ooh, I stinking love them. But anyways, that's what these are. They're a spitting image of like Kale Silvers or Cherry MX Silvers right there. They are just fantastic. Great switches for typing, great switches for gaming. It's just that perfect middle ground right there where it's not too excessive in one or the other. Now, why I wanted to end it on those switches right there, because I think this is how Razer's keeping it in a competitive price, which I honestly think is fair. This keyboard comes in at $230. Okay, so I need your help right here. I want you guys to stick with me and let's talk about this. Me personally, I honestly think it is packing a whole lot for that price, and I think it's fair. I truly do think it's a fair price. It is up here on the higher end of a keyboard. I don't know, you can compare it to like Apex Pro or the Deathstalker, which those are not cheap keyboards, but everything this is packing, I think you're getting your monies for the dollar, if that makes sense. Now where I've been trying to wrap this around in my head the last few days, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm liking it, I'm loving it, I'm recommending it, right? But am I just brainwashed from Razer with their recent $300 little tiny mouse that came out, you know what I mean? Is it like, hey, if it's, you know, that much bigger right here and it's cheaper than that, are we getting a stinking good deal? Maybe I'm just brainwashed over here after that recent release. But I do really like this keyboard, but I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. Everything is packing, everything I showed you, do you think it justifies that $230 price? Me personally, I think it does, and even though it's full size, I might keep this on my desk for quite a while, pending, again, I'm kind of debating right now, Deathstalker, if I can let that go and then go to this. I'm having such a good time with this. Again, this might stay on my desk for a lot longer. So there we go. My take on the new released gaming keyboard from Razer, the BlackWidow V4 Pro. I hope I helped you out. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got any other questions, don't hesitate to ask down in the comments. I love talking shop with y'all right there. And again, thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Bye now.